Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're getting ready for game 2. But before we go any further into the game, we want to take this time to actually address that it is one of our colleagues' birthday today. Mr. Joshua Joshi Howard is also a caster for Academy and was a former caster for Team Liquid back in the day. So, smacks. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Happy birthday,
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday,
Happy
dear
birthday,
Joshi.
dear Joshi.
Happy birthday
to you. Whee! All right. All right. That's for you, Josh.
Hopefully that wasn't too
now,
desynced. We love you, Josh.
Back to the actual game, though. Team Liquid had a very tough time in the early game, Smacks.
Yes.
Their win condition for the early game was not properly executed. Dokla didn't get to really get played around. And although Harry was able to make this nice teleport answer, Golden Guardians just continued steamrolling through the game.
Yes, the play that we just saw there with Harry finding that double kill was the biggest surge of gold that Team Liquid got over their opponents for probably about 20 minutes, I would say, after that. And Golden Guardians really took over everything the entire time. I was really impressed with what Rosethorn was showing us on the Volibear, going for so many different ganks, really barreling into this top side, and that's the kind of faith that they need to have in their teammates here for Golden Guardians, because earlier in the game we saw that Niles ended up getting solo killed by Dokla in this one. The Jace just had so much extra damage, and Niles with the Ignite did not have the extra safety that he needed to survive that 1v1 anymore after using the Ignite. So even after all of that happened, Rosethorn was still like, you know what? We're still going to make sure that Niles gets ahead. We're still going to make sure that Dokla gets behind. And we're going to have a very strong Gwen for the late game. And it did get to late.
Almost a 45-minute game, Smacks. My goodness. I thought we went back in time to like Victor Orky Azir meta, where you just do nothing for 40 minutes and Sivir, man. Oh, Jesus. Oh, late games, man. But you know what? The longer late games are sometimes the most exciting and have some of the greatest moments in esports history. And when Team Liquid almost, I mean, they won a fight down 8,000 gold after the Baron pit, we were like, is this where Team Liquid just come back? But then Golden Guardians quickly revitalized. They're like, okay, guys, you know, let's play around the fact that Ashe and Braum is kind of hard to attack. And so they went back to the 1-3-1 split push core that was enabled thanks to getting Baron and getting Niles online towards the later part of the game. And they eventually closed out. And now we're looking into the second draft phase, where more than likely the teams should swap, as they have been for a majority of the season, thanks to it being best of twos. Golden Guardians get their first pick of the litter, and if there is a champion that they definitely need to grab for themselves, what champion are you looking at here for them?
Well, Golden Guardians were the ones who banned the Nocturne. They took the Nocturne tax in game number 1, and if Team Liquid decides that Nocturne isn't as high a priority as Golden Guardians thinks it is, then perhaps that's going to be one that Golden Guardians can get their hands on. I believe Niles was one of the only players to play it just last week, and with the new Stridebreaker, this champion is crazy. It is like breaking the win rate charts in solo queue. 3 different roles, top, jungle, and mid. So this champion does feel like it's pretty crazy. Saying that, you know what? Spawn probably knows that too, so he's probably gonna ban that one on the blue on the red side. But you know, it could happen. I've seen it happen before. Nocturne would be the big choice there, I think.
You know, the funny thing is that Inori on his YouTube channel just dropped about a week ago. Let's see. Yeah, last week, a jungle Nocturne Season 11 guide, and talking about how OP the new Stridebreaker is with him. And technically, Smacks, I know you were kind of heralding old Stridebreaker being super good on Nocturne. So even though you no longer get a dash, the heavy slow that you get and it being on a lower cooldown gives Nocturne still almost the same sticking power as he did.
It's very powerful, and it deals a lot more damage too. And when you are just diving into that backline with your paranoia, you do have a window where it is near impossible to escape from, where you just activate that stride breaker. You're still in the air. You're still going directly to your target. You can't dodge it at all. So this is a very powerful combination there for Nocturne and for other champions as well. The Xin Zhao has that possibility, even though the Divine Sunder is more popular in him recently. You can still get that slow going. Renekton is a really big one too for that one, because he can slice and dice to the backline, doesn't need the dash. So Stride is a really big deal for a lot of these bruiser type champions, and getting that extra slow down. Speaking of Inori, we saw that was his first game with Team Liquid Academy in that previous game, and we saw a really nice opener to it, where they took away the blue buff from Rosethorn, took away the Gromp as well, and really got the game started off on the right foot. But it does still feel like, which is expected, that Team Liquid Academy are still trying to find ways to communicate with this new stand-in jungler while they are awaiting Santorin's swift recovery.
Yeah, and I don't imagine it's that big of an issue, considering that, you know, talking with Spawn, he has been scrimming with he has, I think it was every scrim this past week leading into the game. So they are, you know, practiced enough. You know, it could have just been really that great ward from Golden Guardians over the mid lane wall that spotted out Inori when he crossed over from the red buff, because him going for that gank either doesn't end as badly or actually works had he not gone and Spawn. And you called out during the cast that, hey, the sweeper didn't pick up the sword, so he thought he was completely fine. And it's one of those moments like, it's just outside radius, and then Rosethorn or Yumbi are able to make a great punish. And one of the things about Xin Zhao is that if you die early on, or you get stunted in the early game, then your ability to make plays is decelerated a bit, and you have to kind of take a backseat and look for other ways of getting yourself back into the game.
They just never quite found it, which is definitely a bummer for the debut here for Inori, but they still got another game. We still saw some really good signs in that last one. Harry was phenomenal. Orianna was saving these team fights with that double kill early game, and then later on, like you said, there was this huge Baron fight where Team Liquid were down 10k and they just lost the Baron, but Harry was able to split up the fight and deal so much damage to so many different members in that one too, and that was a really nice showing from him as well on this Orianna. And I think Harry has really been my standout player for this team overall. I know you know this more than anyone. I have been a huge Ayla fan for all of this year, but
since spring, baby.
Yeah, exactly. I'm Ayla. If you're listening, big fan. But I'm really focused on Harry because his Orianna was really good in this game. Last week as well, he was pulling out things like the LeBlanc, which was banned against him in that first game too. This guy is really popping off in a lot of these games for Team Liquid, despite all of these roster shakeups and everything. I'm really looking forward to seeing if Harry can overcome that previous loss and really take Team Liquid to potentially a draw in this series.
Yeah, considering that Golden Guardians are probably still going to go with the same bans as they did on the blue side, except for the Nocturne, and trying to make Team Liquid Academy take that tax, then we should see the Akali and the LeBlanc. Yep. Yeah. Even though Harry did not close out the game last week against C9 on the LeBlanc, he had like 10, 15 Magi stacks. He was 5-0 and something as well. And then it was only after an unsuccessful dragon fight that he lost all of his stacks. And then from there, Team Liquid proceeded to lose the game. But then in the game following, pop-off performance on Akali. And Golden Guardians, notice this. The Jace has been taken away since they don't have to open up with Nocturne attacks. Team Liquid, last time they banned Lulu, Viego, and this time they're banning Gwen. So Nocturne has made it through. Viego has made it through. Wow. Okay, so Renekton is the... Yeah, that's the priority. Yeah. And okay, well, Nocturne, Nori's like, yo, I just wrote a guide on this champion. Give me that, you know? And Dokla and Harry can always take this champion to the solo lanes, man.
Absolutely can. Nocturne is just so powerful in all these different lanes. And, I I mean, for Team Liquid Academy, they're thanking their lucky stars that they got their hands on this one. Notably, Xin Zhao and Viego are still available. I would be surprised if both of them are still picked in this game, considering the first two champions that were locked in Renekton and Nocturne, but they are still available. And for Golden Guardians Academy, they typically do not mind at all locking in a lot of physical damage because of this Ziggs. And there it is. They lock in the Ziggs. They lock in Viego. I should have said it a little faster.
You know, okay. Here's my bold predictions, Max. We're gonna get really bold.
Okay.
So you have Ziggs now for Prismal in this bottom lane, so that could be a sufficient amount of magic damage, because once you get to even just the level 11, the Mega Inferno Bomb, especially in the center, does so much damage that you're able
now too.
Yeah. Just because of the travel time now correlating with distance as well. So the Prismal can be the only magic damage source you need for this squad, especially if Team Liquid don't opt into any true tanks. And because in this meta, tanks are not necessarily being not the best at thriving at the moment. You know, we've seen some Mundo games, but I don't know if we're going to be seeing that from Dokla this game. Team Liquid have already locked in their bottom lane of choice. There's still a support that needs to be paired up with the Ziggs. We've seen Thresh. We've seen Karma's being paired with it. I am trying to think of what others that you would want. Team Liquid, because of the bans, they've already tried to take away the Nautilus as well. I imagine that maybe if Rosethorn wanted to assist in a little bit more magic damage as well, could have gone back to the Rumble. The Diana is still available if you want to assist in that as well.
He was also one of the best Lilia players in the previous split. I know that champion is it feels like a bit of a throwback now, even though it hasn't even been in the game for very long, but Rosethorn is quite good at that champion too. It does appear, though, that Team Liquid Academy are taking away some of these very high crowd control supports, notably the two that have been spamming the new Anathema's Chains item. So Team Liquid Academy not wanting Newbie to have that. And you know what, Rafa? It is starting to feel more and more like that Nocturne is in fact going to Inori, especially if that Gnar does get locked in for Dokla.
Check this out. If they lock in Gnar, I want Golden Guardians to go back to one of Rosethorn's original picks and pick Elise jungle. I know that's been slightly nerfed, but if you wanna really snowball this Renekton off to a great start, and to mention Joshi again, I know he's the birthday boy, but he also bring up a really great point when Gnar Renekton was the biggest thing in top lane meta back at the beginning of spring. Is that okay? No, Elise. All right, so you know, it is an AP jungler, but it's not Elise. It's not the ability to just completely take Gnar out of the game, but you still have powerful diving ability at level 6 at least, and you bring a lot of damage. You just need the setup. So maybe, you know, the diving is not going to be as strong pre-6 because you don't have the ability to repel and whatnot, but stun from Renekton, damage from Diana, this Gnar has got to be careful, and this is going to be amazing.
Yes,
I love this
it
game
is.
already.
Okay, so I was thinking while they were hovering Rakan that this is one of those situations where Newbie can roam around a lot, because the Ziggs is known for one thing and one thing only: wave clear. That's just what he does. He stays in the lane, he clears the waves, and maybe eventually he kills your turret if you let him. But for Newbie, what that means is you don't really have to stay in this lane very much. You can go and help out others, and Blitzcrank is that perfect kind of champion to do that, especially now that Harry has actually made the very bold choice of locking in a very immobile champion in the mid lane here for Twisted Fate. He now has to be so careful for Newbie roaming around to his lane, especially with the extra lockdown. Viego has some gank assist with his stun, and Diana, once you hit level 6 as well, you've got the pull back here with your ult. So this is a lot of crowd control available for Golden Guardians Academy. The members of Team Liquid have to be very careful in that early game. I mean, one rocket grab and your entire series ends with no wins.
You've been spending too much time around Canadians. You went for the grab instead of the grab. Bag. We do have some really awesome Canadians, though, in the Academy scene. Two of them just got their visas for the Immortals roster in Anda and Viper, and now they get to play on 20 ping. And for those, make sure you check out the other stream over on twitch.tv/nerdstreetlol, where we actually have a bet with the two awesome casters over there in Kangas and Cubby. We've been trying to keep track of which team is going to build Hull Breaker first. Did I say that correctly?
Yeah,
Hull
Hull
Breaker.
Breaker. That's right.
Okay. So the bet is that we're gonna get a team that builds Hull Breaker first before they do, and if it happens today or if it happens tomorrow, then the losing team has to do something.
Something goofy.
Should we? Yeah, something goofy. We have something in the works, but we don't want to reveal it yet. So stay tuned to the Twitter sphere as we load up onto the Rift for Game 2 of the series between Golden Guardians and Team Liquid. And a lot of global power for Team Liquid Academy between this Nocturne and Twisted Fate alone.
These may not be the champions to be building Hullbreaker in the top lane, but I still have a lot of eyes on the top side of the map. One, because of the thing that I just mentioned here with these hooks that both Newbie and Ayla actually have access to. Death sentences, no slouching either. But because of the volatility that comes from Niles and Dokla and what we just witnessed in Game 1, game started off Dokla solo killing Niles, and from then on out, Niles was back with a vengeance, making sure to bring up every single member of his team to get revenge on Dokla and put him in the dirt, which ended up working. So for Dokla, it's now his turn to try to get revenge. Maybe he can do that up there against Niles' Crocodiles.
Niles Crocodiles. Well done.
I think.
I just wanted to give you a little bit of applause because I didn't even think about it rhyming like that. As for this early game smacks, I don't suspect too much action will be happening. As you already pointed out, Gnar should be self-sufficient in this lane. He has the range advantage, although, the gap closing ability at level 3 from Niles will allow him to be able to make better trades and potentially push Gnar out. But as long as he keeps his distance and he keeps up the grass stacks, he's plenty sustained to survive this lane and become more of a threat the later the game goes, mainly towards that mid game.
He's going to have to be self-sufficient as well, because I watched the Inori Nocturne jungle guide, and one of the biggest things that he said is that Nocturne is a farm to 6 jungler, which is true. You do need to hit that paranoia power spike. You do need to have that capability of just diving into the backline and, more importantly, disrupting the entire enemy team, making sure that they cannot see anything. It's so valuable to do that, not only for the vision aspect, but also just so your opponents cannot cast their teleport or their global spells at all. It's very difficult to do so. For the globals, something like a Mega Inferno Bomb from Ziggs, you can't really be certain if it's going to hit or not. And for the teleports, you just simply can't cast it. So Orinori is going to try to full clear his jungle, already doing exactly that. He's on his 5th camp, and we'll be looking forward to seeing what he can do once he does hit level 6.
And speaking of teleports, the way that Harry is aggressively pushing this lane right now, it just shows me that he wants to go for an early recall, maybe pick up a Dark Seal, or maybe Dorn's Ring just to give him a better laning phase, as he's already giving Yunbi a little bit of a hard time taking out half of his HP. Yon and Ayla controlling this bottom lane as well, which will give Nora the opportunity to secure his crab on the bottom side of the map. Now Nora's going to take a peek into this jungle, try to get some vision down, knowing that Rosethorn did start on the bottom side of the map. Going to know that the full cycle of this jungle will repeat from that side. And it's going to be useful for the rest of Team Liquid and these laners, especially volatile ones like this top lane, to know where Rosethorn is going to be and act accordingly.
Words are very useful, especially as Rosethorn is pathing exactly over there. So we'll keep a really nice tab on Rosethorn for at least the next minute. Some rugs do take quite a while to clear out. Soon to follow. Rosethorn first on the recall, but will be found out. Something I do want to mention about the patch that we are currently on, though, is that one of the biggest champion changes that did happen was that Diego, the champion that Yunbi is piloting, has been weakened in the mid lane. He does not heal nearly as much on minions. He was previously just 100% healing on minions. He's been knocked down to 50. So It is perhaps one of the reasons why he is struggling in the health department and the CS department as well against Harry in this lane, who has done a great job just keeping that pressure on. And Yubi can't even recall either. He's just forced in this death cycle where he's really low on HP and has to use the stealth in the lane to try to keep the sustain alive.
Yeah, Harry already got his teleport in for the recall, and oh my gosh, okay, this is kind of a bounce house onto Yon. Prismal and Newbie just getting so much damage down onto Yon, but wait, they turn it around! Yon flashing away into the bush, walks back around, Newbie says, alright, enough of this. I'll smack you in the face.
And that might have just been an exhaust diff. If Newbie was taking the Ignite instead, that might have been a little bit better for Golden Guardians. Although exhaust is stronger in the scaling aspect, it does mean that Ayla is able to get that first blood, and it's looking like Team Liquid are going to start up on the Drake as well. As you get this replay, you can see what I'm talking about. Firstly, the crowd control onto Yon was immaculate. I can't believe how well they were able to just displace every single thing that he tried to do.
Yeah, God. Interrupted everything as we have a 1v1 on the top side of the map. Niles popping the Dominus, having that level advantage over Dokla. It's going to force his flash, and Dokla just teleported a couple minutes ago. Rosethorn doesn't have Moonfall, but he has the gap closers in the Lunar Rush. Takes down Dokla.
2 flashes up there used by Golden Guardians, but yet again, Dokla is the target for the jungler of Golden Guardians. This is just a so brutal top jungle duo to play against, it seems, on today's games. You can see the CS discrepancy here for Niles, up 20 right now. Like you mentioned, Dokla does not have the teleport to get back to this. Niles is now just going to have this gigantic lead with the assist, with the plate gold, with the CS, and every single thing is going to be brutal for this Renekton. Doesn't scale particularly well, but it's just going to feel really good in this lane and making sure that Dokla does not scale either.
We go back to the Honda Scouting Grounds 2020 event on Team Cloud, where Rosethorn and Niles, at the beginning, that team was having difficulties and struggling, but by the end, they were picking up a lot of wins thanks to their duo synergy. But yes, you said Paranoia's up, and Rosethorn is looking to make a play, combined with Harry's Destiny. They make the gank down on the Prismal. He's got nowhere to run. Newbie doesn't have flash. Another auto attack from Harry will secure the kill, and Team Liquid will be able to equalize the lead a bit.
Mobile pressure is just crazy for this team, Rafa. The Paranoia and the Destiny can get anywhere from anywhere for Harry and Inori, and that's exactly what Inori taught me in his jungle guide on YouTube. I knew this was coming. I took notes.
Learning a lot. You know what? Yeah, good. I was never the best note taker in school. You know,
me either, really.
Usually,
for Inori, I'll do it.
Yeah. Visual learning actually is really nice, though. Yeah, if I watch something enough times, then it just happens, you know? Team Liquid Academy going into the 9-minute mark here. Dokla is getting run down, but Yon is en route. Chain of Corruptions lands. Niles doesn't have flash from before. Rosethorn makes a counter gank over the wall, has Moonfall. Yumbi joins up in the follow-up, but Inori is there as well. Has the flash away, doesn't have Paranoia. He's keeping his distance, but the rest of Team Liquid are ready to fall in line and be the reinforcements that they need to take down Yumbi.
It's the full rotation of all 5 members up from Team Liquid. You can see the Prismal is getting some resources in the mid lane, but he just wasn't there for the fight. It was an outnumbered match there for Team Liquid. We get to see this play as well. I'm really excited for this. Just look at the ultimate usage from the Nocturne, from the Twisted Fate. They know for a fact that they have enough damage to kill both of the members of the Golden Guardians bot lane at the same time. There it is. That's the kind of team play that we're expecting from Team Liquid Academy in these games. Even despite their roster shakeups that they've had, this core of this team has been so strong for so long, all of this year as well. Even despite the early bow out in the spring scouting grounds, or the proving grounds, excuse me. They still were one of the favorite teams in that tournament, and this is the kind of thing that makes you realize why that is.
I mean, prior to that Proving Grounds event, they had won the Arena of the Legends tournament. They were the best Academy team to represent that circuit, you know? So it was a surprise to everyone for them to exit out so early during Proving Grounds. And it's why the Golden Guardians Academy win against Team Liquid in this series in Game 1 is so huge, just because coordination from Golden Guardians is something that, you know, it's been kind of volatile throughout this summer. Obviously, the roster changes that they made, promoting Chime to the LCS roster, bringing in Solo, and then bringing down Niles, was supposed to be good changes for both, as we take a look at this fight in the river once again.
Again, all the members of Team Liquid are up here. You see that Prismo was actually in the bottom lane. He's clearing both of these lanes at the same time. Doesn't have teleport, so for Golden Guardians, they're honestly lucky to get out with the members that they did survive with, the Blitzcrank and Diana. So very, very tricky to fight there, and they just were not expecting the roam timer from Team Liquid to get up there and take that fight. But honestly, this is one of those situations where dying does give you a little bit of tempo, because Golden Guardians were the ones who got the Rip Jump. That's at least something. I learned that from Kelsey, the LPL expert.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure we had a similar conversation as well.
I think you were in that conversation. So
yeah,
that's probably what it was.
No, that's what it was. Yeah, because we were talking about Jizuke and like, well, you know, if you die early on, you actually gain a tempo change. But
all right.
Anyway,
just some light evil geniuses flame thrown in there. Shout out to Kelsey.
Hashtag live evil.
Yep. They would be proud, I think. Fits the brand.
Yeah. Yeah. Evil Geniuses I think are currently playing on the or not quite yet. They're going to be playing against Immortals on the other stream over at twitch.tv/nerdstreet.lol once the series between Dignitas and CLG come to a close. And you should make sure to go check it out. You get to listen to the luscious baritone of Cubby and the awesome raw vocal power of Kangas. Both are a great caster duo, and we love them very much. As going into this game, we hit the 12-minute mark. Team Liquid Academy still accentuating their leads across the map as Harry is getting turret plates on the top side. Dokla trying to survive all the pressure that Rosethorn is currently allocating towards this bottom half of the map.
The bottom half of the map is now where Golden Guardians just need to be. You have this Ziggs. You already took the top lane. Check one. You've done it. You've done the first Ziggs goal. The next one is to find the next turret and then click it a bunch of times. So Prismal is deciding to do that in the mid lane. Only a minute and a half remains until the turret platings do fall, at which point the value of them does go down a little bit, but you still have that same goal in mind when you are playing the Ziggs. And you see that Prismal is down quite a bit because of CS to Beyond, who has been playing this game pretty well. He now has this this Dust Blade picked up on this recall, and will be able to continue just finding those picks with his team, which is what Team Liquid are able to accomplish when they do draft like this. They've already been able to do it so much in this game, and I really appreciate the way that they have just... They drafted for a similar thing in Game 1, but they've just given it more thought in at least a place like this.
Well, it's a nice flash from Yumbi, but how nice is it going to be when Inori is able to just follow you up and run you down? Yumbi did try valiant effort into escape, but between him and Harry, they just have too much global power to lock him down. Now this top lane turret is exposed for the taking. Already Golden Guardians are trying to rotate resources over to the bottom side of the map to see if they can get one back in this race.
Look at Niles. He is up 50 CS now. Might even take down that full turret. Mega Inferno Bomb makes it a little bit more difficult for Harry to match that, but there it is. Golden Guardians, they take down yet another turret. All plates attached. I believe that means that they got 11 total turret platings in this game. It's a gigantic number, and despite losing out on a couple of these picks, despite losing out on a couple of these kills, it is still a pretty close game because of all of the siege potential.
Nori doing a good job of being the babysitter and making sure that Harry is protected in this extended lane. Rosethorn was also peeking his head in the river, eventually looking for a collapse, knowing that Harry doesn't have Destiny to escape. Next Dragon is not going to be on the table for another minute and 40. And Dokla is trying to find some time to get back, but see the aggressive path that Niles is taking to cut him off. Prismal and Newbie are already en route, and Dokla Let's see how you play this one out. He is Mega. He's going to throw Niles against the wall. Okay, well, the teleport comes out from Harry's when immediately the Messiah comes out. If you are an old school fan like me, comes and buys some time. Niles taking a lot of damage on the back end. Paranoia is available. He's actually, we're going to have a fight in the mid lane as well, but taking a look at this bottom lane, it's just so much damage. Chain of Corruptions into the pick as Inori found the solo kill on the Rosethorn.
Wow, so 2 picks at the same time in different locations for Team Liquid. This is what I'm talking about. They have all of these utility ultimates, all of these options to go for, and when you're snowballing this much, when you have been able to find these successful picks in succession like this, now 8 kills for Team Liquid, you can go for all these at the same time as we get another peek right here. Nori up a level against Rosethorn, and yeah, the Stride Breaker is just crazy in these games. It just pairs so well with this Champions kit.
Massive lead for Team Liquid off of that. Well, 2,500 gold. Not quite the massive gold advantage, but just multiple plays cross map are things that Team Liquid Academy need to be able to consistently do during the next 5 to 10 minutes to accelerate this lead, because you always have to keep in the back of your mind, Jaego, Ziggs, are going to have so much damage coming into the late game where you get a huge amount of burst, and then the Yuumi starts popping off with the resets. So there's always that lingering fear in the back of your mind if the game goes too long. And so it's even more imperative for Team Liquid to try and choose these picks carefully.
It's very interesting. Golden Guardians tempted to find a pick of their own starting up the break, but White land all this poke now from Team Liquid. It's going to be matched a little bit by that Mega Inferno Bomb Prismal, but just so tricky to deal with. Y'all just hit a double arrow yet again. Teleport coming though.
Well, Niles flanked right into the middle of 5 people. Oh my god, the follow-up from Rosethorn! The Team Cloud synergy between Rosethorn and Niles are all that it needs to be able to take out Team Liquid and wipe them out. They lost Prismal, but 1 death for all 5 members. A damn good trade.
Oh my god, Rafa, that was brutal. Okay, let's take a look at this one yet again. Niles, so lethal with the target selection onto Yon, and then just a full team moonfall. What more can you say at this point? Golden Guardians back into this game. They have that gold lead, they have the fight lead, they have the Drake lead, all off of a single teleport play from Niles.
I looked at that teleport and thought, oh no, Niles is going to get 100 to 0'd here. Team Liquid is too far away, but he bought enough time. He bought enough time, Smacks, and Golden Guardians were able to commit the resources they needed to be able to close the distance and react appropriately. Because in another world, that teleport flank, Niles gets bursted down, Golden Guardians are not able to collapse, and then Team Liquid are able to take the fight afterwards, right? And it's something that we've seen in Academy, we've seen in LCS as well, where teams are not on the same page. So for Golden Guardians Academy to make that play while down in gold is a huge victory.
Rafa, something you have to remember about this series is that the last time these two teams played against each other, it was Team Liquid who got the 2-0 victory in the best of 2. This was in week 3 of the Academy regular season. Golden Guardians, they've already taken the first step to reprimand that and try to make that the 4 games that they play against this team completely even across the entire regular season. With that fight, they may have just locked in that it does happen. They do get the 2-0 and the 2-2 overall, but still have a while left to go. Ultimates are still very scary from Team Liquid as they're trying to use them yet again.
Paranoia waits until the very last minute before engaging on the Rosethorn. A lot of poke follows up. Skirmisher Saber's not going to burn a Rosethorn down to a death. He'll be able to walk out alive. Team Liquid being able to counteract appropriately to save Dokla from overextending and making the push. Now they have to rotate over to this mid lane. Golden Guardians are going to beat them to the punch. They can threaten to take the mid turret here.
Well, ultimates left, Rafa. Liquid used everything and got nothing. Miss out on all of those kills. Rosethorn barely surviving, and power of Ziggs. yet another turret dropping. 1,500 gold ahead of Team Liquid now. Not gonna be another charge, doesn't look like, because Harry walks around, gets to the eye, and accesses that one before it gets hit again, but Guardians, they're not done yet. Okay, now they're done. Nice scrying, nice scrying arm.
Wait for it, wait for it. Alright, we're good.
Whoa. Nice job, Harry.
Control ward being placed in this red buff quadrant gives them a little bit of a choke point that they can look to punish, as you have to remember that Team Liquid's composition strength comes from the ability to make picks after turning out the lights. Paranoia pops, Destiny can come in undetected, Chain of Corruptions can come from Fog of War, a Death Sentence might come from a bush as well. The vision control is what allows you to do that, though, especially when Paranoia is not available.
And a note about this game is that while Golden Guardians, they did just now find their first major fight victory, it is still newbie feeling very confident about that one and going for the Shurelias rather than the more defensive anti-burst option of the Locket. Really trying to get the movement speed down and making sure that Golden Guardians can stay on the offensive. I like this idea, but it does come with a risk. You do find yourselves on the back foot of a Paranoia and a Destiny combination yet again, can be a little bit more lethal if you don't go for the Locket of Yara and Solari. So we're going to keep our eyes on as the members of Golden Guardians. They have a lot of engage potential. They have a lot of melee champions, but they do also have Prism, and he can't really get into the back line quite like a Diana or a Viego can. So he might get left out to dry.
You just throw a giant Mega Inferno Bomb. That is your contribution to the backline access. So, something that I will point out, Max, Team Liquid Inori has gone for a little bit of a Wild Rift competitive meta tech, which is rushing the GA second item. I don't know if this was part of the Nocturne Season 11 guide that he wrote up. Okay. Well, you know what? I like the idea, because you are dive bombing the backline, and the GA does give you time to be able to stall. Oh no! You know, yeah. Because if he had taken the Lantern, Newbie had the hook right in the line of sight of the Dark Passage travel time, so he was dead. So quick thinking on Yon. Unfortunate that he baited himself into being in a situation where he thought he was safe. Now without the flash, is going to be even more reliant on Ayla to get him out of a sticky situation the next time it arises.
That's the good part of going Shurelias, right? Go the flash of Yon without having to use your own. Still a favorable play by Golden Guardians, but quick fingers of Yon alive now. Does mean that Dragon is going to be taken, as I believe Harry was attempting to scout out or potentially try to find a steal with Destiny, but Niles makes sure that there is a crocodile in his face, so not the easiest time to teleport out if you're going to get stunned by it.
Thankfully, he swapped over to Exhaust and used it to deflect Niles' aggressive approach. Ayla, Inori, and Dokla are on the top side of the map, though, trying to take away this blue buff. Niles has teleport to answer as the rest of the Golden Guardian members are getting ready to potentially collapse. Shurelia's Reverie is going to get popped. Finds the hook onto Ayla. Has the flash if he needs it. Paranoia is going to be popped. Death Sentence lands on the Prismal! Inori's going to close the distance. Strikebreaker comes out, and Prismal's gone. And the GA will pop, giving Inori a second life. Now it's to teleport into the back line. Moonfall comes out. They're locking down Harry and Yon, and they just shred through the 80 carry for Team Liquid. And Nori, now coming off of the GA respawn, is running away from Yumbi. Meanwhile, Dokla, Ayla, and the other Harry is trying to get away from the rest of Golden Guardians members. Unfortunately for Inori, he's got nowhere to run. He's been routed off. And Rose Thorn is going to push Dokla away from this Baron. They don't have the ability, potentially, to start this. Actually, no, I take that back. No jungler from Team Liquid.
Could get a little bit dicey. Prismal's going to have teleport available. There it is. Will be able to enter this fight, and Newbie is still on the prowl. There's another hook!
And Ayla still has flash. He's going to just flay him backwards. But I don't think Harry feels confident enough. Oh, wait, he has Destiny. He has Smite. And so now they're taking it slow. Dokla is trying to go and get vision on them. Destiny has been popped. 2.3k health. Golden Guardians are trying to wait it out. Now the Destiny has been popped. And beautiful patience from Golden Guardians.
That was immaculate right there, making sure that Harry had no timing to get into the pit, unless he wanted to get blown up by all 5 members of Golden Guardians. That was so nice. The full team just coordinating amazingly on that play. And while it all started off by Prismal getting hooked by Thresh, it ends up in just such an immaculate form of full team coordination. And now, Prismal, he's got some stasis, so that won't even happen again. They've got everything that they need to potentially close out this game or come very close to doing so.
Notably, that GA for Nori popped in that fight. And unfortunately for them, it did not really result in a net lead. So now, that Guardian's Age, all that it offers is just a little bit of some stats. That's it. And like armor. So for Nori, it's really just the Stride Breaker that is giving him any power in these fights. But compared to Rosethorn on this Diana, who has 7 stacks in the Dark Seal, Zonia's, and Rotobelt, he is far stronger, and they're using this to their advantage as they take down this inhibitor turret.
Look at the Ziggs damage. Still so much to all these structures. That's just 3 in 1. Dokla does trade one back, but it's a far less important structure than the inhibitor in the mid lane. And Golden Guardians still having about a minute and a half left on their Baron buff. That might not be the only structure, the only set of structures, rather, that they have taken down against Team Liquid. Continuing to grow their lead as we get to watch this fight yet again. These hooks from Newbie have been very clutch in this game, but gotta say, Ayla can work a little bit more.
Collapse looks so good from Team Liquid's Max, but then the teleport comes in from Niles. Rosethorn flashing into combo with the backline dive once again from that Moonfall. I'm going to say it again, and I'm going to reference it. We talked about it at the beginning when they first took down Dokla in that dive. The Team Cloud synergy. I mean, Niles and Rosethorn have a good relationship. They have a good understanding and mutual respect for each other as players. And, you know, while it is not necessarily fun for Niles to go from the LCS to the Academy after an unfortunate split, Niles and Rosethorn seem to have a, you know, really solid understanding and just partnership in being able to work together to find a lot of these counter engages and re-engages, because that's the second time so far Team Liquid get the better end of the initial fight, and then the delayed fight, the second fight after, it's off the back of Niles and Rosethorn working hand in hand.
Rosethorn is just having a pop-off day overall. These Diana fights have been so crazy with the Moonfalls. And the Volibear as well in Game 1. I can't sing his praises enough today, Rafa. This guy is really crushing it, but need to secure one more objective.
Double flashes being blown by Ayla and Harry in response to Newbie's own flash for the hook. This is going to force Team Liquid's hand and away from the Dragon Pit. This is Mountain Soul on the line for Golden Guardians.
It's going to be very contentious. The Destiny is popped. Harry's in position. Nori's still trying to find Paranoia. Still finding the vision. Another hook.
That sentence lands on the Niles, but he has the Steric Shield. He's going to get popped. He's still going forward, trying to buy time for the rest of Golden Guardians to get in there. And Nori chooses his target on the Newbie, takes him down. And Nori is going to get fallen by Prismal, though. Niles is still living throughout the entire cause before finally getting shut down by Yon. And the Mountain Soul will be secured by Rosethorn. Prismal's still alive to put out the damage. So is Yunbi, and he's got the resets. He's going to hop in. He's going to find Yon. Prismal pops the stasis. Do they have the damage? Yes, they do. Yon will fall.
Oh, they don't even need to kill Ayla. They're trying to teleport into the base, Rafa. Prismal has teleport as well on this Ziggs. Gonna take a recall first, but he's going to make it. This might just be the end of the entire series, 29 minutes in.
They have the Ziggs bomb satchel charge to be able to take down both turrets. Not quite at the same time, but the death timers are long enough. Mega Inferno Bomb will come out, and Golden Guardians, after getting 2-0 swept in Week 3 against Team Liquid, they answer back.
Woo! If after watching the first game, it feels like that one was over in an instant.
Whew!
So much quicker, so much cleaner there from Golden Guardians as soon as they found one single fight. That was all it took for them to just close out this game and close out this series with a perfect record here, matching their regular season total overall against their opponents in Team Liquid Academy. Oh, what a day for Golden Guardians.
Think card from the coach booth is definitely smiling and beaming at how well their team played today. Yes,
I loved this
Team
fight.
Liquid. Yeah, this fight was the statement from Golden Guardians saying that even with a successful early game from Team Liquid, because yes, Inori is coming in as a sub jungler, but this is someone that the team felt confident enough to be working with. So we're not going to give a pass and say that, like, oh yeah, Golden Guardians like played a weaker form version of Team Liquid. This is a roster that they would have felt comfortable fielding in, and so therefore Golden Guardians deserves more praise and more credit for this dominating victory.
Certainly was dominating. Just reminiscing on what we've just witnessed here for Golden Guardians. That first game, almost 45 minutes in, we were sure that they were going to win the entire time, but it took quite a while to actually reach that goal. And this one was such a huge comeback. They were up against an 8-kill opposing team who just kept finding picks off left and right with a snap of their fingers, the Nocturne and Twisted Fate combination, and then with Yon as well, finding so much damage with this Lethality Varus too. It felt like it was just going to be an even series. It felt like Team Liquid had found their stride. They found the way that they can close out the game, but as soon as it didn't work, even a single time, that was all it took for Golden Guardians to close this one out. And the team play was just so good. Just remember what happened at that Baron as well. They kept it at 2,300 health for so long until the eye above their head was done. And then they're like, all right, we're killing it. Go for it right now. And they did.
Yeah, that play alone speaks volumes of why it didn't matter who the roster was that they played against, because that team coordination would have happened regardless. And the fact that it came out from this Golden Guardians Academy roster who has been struggling for so long to find their footing, this is a fantastic statement to make, to show and prove their development and how far they have come from the beginning of this year. So honestly, just really, really proud of this squad, because it's been tough in a lot of their games throughout the split here, Smacks.
It really has. They've been near the bottom of the standings for quite a while. I believe before today they were sitting in ninth, and I believe they've just tied up the win total of Immortals. Depending on what the results of Immortals are later on, they might still be in that position, but this 2-0 against one of the top of the table teams in Team Liquid is just a huge statement, and it's just huge for your team overall. It's got to feel amazing to come in and 2-0 this team. I do want to remind us of a throwback to last split as well, where it was Golden Guardians Academy who were the team that knocked Team Liquid out of the Proving Grounds as a whole. There's a deja vu to that, Rafa, but
oh man,
yeah, I'm sure it felt good both times.
Yeah, and who's also feeling good? Their support newbie, who will be joining us in the interview for the Verizon postgame interview slot. First of all, hola, muchas felicitaciones a ti, newbie, from one Latino to another. Yeah, de nada, amigo. Por ejemplo, the first question I want to ask you is, what were the comms like? Who was leading the comms during that Baron moment where you stalled it out at 2,300 health when Twisted Fate could have threatened to steal it?
Oh, I think it was Tim and Aiden. They were calling to stop a bit and chill, because we know TF had a smite. So yeah, it was a good call.
Yeah, I mean, it was a phenomenal call. We're still talking about it. Even before you joined in the call, we were just reeling by how sick that was. And you on the Blitzcrank in that game as well. We haven't seen that champion in quite a while. What was the big reason why you felt like it was time for the God Hand?
Well, it was good pick versus Thresh and Varus, and we had 6. So yeah, it was good for the comp. I didn't did a good game, honestly, but I think Blitzcrank is like a mental pick. Like everyone is very afraid to eat a hook because they will just insta die and maybe they will lose a game because that. So yeah, I make some plays, but I am not happy with my performance. But maybe I will play in some Blitzcrank.
I mean, maybe you didn't feel happy with the performance, but here on the caster side, you were like
nice.
Diego Maradona, man. You got the mano de Dios, like making those hooks left, right, and center. Those were some crucial picks, man. And now with this really dominating victory over Team Liquid, your next series is going up against CLG, who, from the standings is technically a weaker team. What is the for the team? What is the next step to work on now that you're starting to get more of the team play locked down here?
So I think we still have a lot to work. I mean, we have been improving a lot last week, so I am happy to get a 2-0 today.
Yeah.
We need to keep working a lot, but I think we are doing well. We are working a lot, so yeah, we'll get some wins more tomorrow.
Sounds good to me.
One other thing that you guys have been working on that I've been very excited about is this Ziggs pick here for Prismal. I know he's one of those guys that will just pull out anything that he could possibly think of in that bottom lane. How has it been playing with him over the course of this split? I know he was one of the main carries in the spring split for this team.
Well, yeah, Jake likes to play like a lot of champions. He's very smart, so he know what champion is good in some different occasion. So I will just follow him, and I have learned a lot with him this split, and I think I have been improving a lot with playing around him. So yeah, we have a lot of pick to show still. So yeah.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah. Again, felicitaciones, newbie. Congratulations for the 2-0.
Muchas gracias.
We'll see you tomorrow when you de nada, amigo. We'll see you tomorrow for CLG Academy.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
I like him, man.
Yeah.
He's super chill. Yeah. Gosh, that was cool. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be it for the first series of the day. We do have quite an explosive series coming your way for 100 Thieves Academy taking on TSM Academy. We're going to take a quick break. Y'all should too, but make sure you come back for the exciting series just about to come up.